Hello and welcome to Epos Ready and the demonstration of our Epos solution, which is designed specifically for the hospitality industry. We look after businesses within all kinds of sectors within hospitality, from restaurants, bars, cafes, late night venues and quick service operations. So there will be functionality that is relevant for everybody within that sector. What you're faced with initially is a sign-on screen, which has the ability to incorporate time and attendance, so forcing your members of staff to have to clock in and clock out at the beginning of the shift and at the end of the shift. This can be done by different ways of signing in, can be from PIN numbers, can be from card readers, and it can also be from a Dallas key. So there's different options for levels of functionality and security that you can have. If we start by doing the sign-on for number one, which will be the member of staff, the first thing you'll see that it was not clocked in for the day, so in order to use the system they will need to clock in. This will then take them to the sales screen, which gives them all the different levels of functionality and different areas that are relevant to the business that we will be providing for. If we imagine that it's a sort of restaurant sort of type layout, we will then have a table plan here, and we've got different tables that are occupied. The ones that are flashing are tables that have not been accessed for quite a while. But if we open up a new table, table 4, it will then take us back to the screen. We have table number 4 here, we have the member of staff, we have the date, and also the time running in the right hand side corner. We then go through doing the normal process of putting some drinks through, and some spirits, and some soft drinks, depending on what the customer would like. We also do the food orders. Now what you will see here is the zeros on here is based on items that are not available to sell for reasons of deliveries have not happened, or it might be a special board that you do, so you only have so many of a certain item. So what it means is it won't get printed in the kitchen, it won't go through, and it means that the customer ultimately is not disappointed by any choices that they may have made. If we then put through the normal order, we then have different options as to how something is cooked, or potentially what it would come with, okay, and the choices can be like so. You will then see, obviously the list becomes down there. It could be that the customer has certain requests or certain requirements, dietary or allergies that they may have. So what we can also do is have a preset message set up, so we can do things like please rush, or customized message where we can tell the chef that they have a nut allergy, and we can type this in like so, and it would add to the order. Once we're happy, we add to check table, which would then send away once we know how many covers we've got on the table, so we're understanding the spend per head, so we'll put that as 4, and that was then gone through. So that will be table number 4, and we'll see now that it's now occupied, and it's got the plate on the actual screen. If we wish to go back into the table and add to it, it's just a case of highlighting there, clicking open, putting any different items on there. So it could be that they're ready for a dessert, like so, and add to check table again to send it away and print out in the relevant area that it needs to print out. Once they get to the end of the bill, or end of the meal I should say, they may wish to pay for certain items in a split fashion or in a Go Dutch fashion. So you've got the ability to be able to do both here. If I show you the split item, what this will then do is separate the order into as many different checks that you might want to do. But all I could do is highlight the sirloin, add it to different tables, or add it to a different check based on what the customer has had. I could then print by hitting these buttons here, or I could go straight to the payment side of it just to pay for those 2 items with £20 note, which will then take me back to here. I've got the totals at the bottom, and then I can pay by cash or by credit card on this one. And then once I'm happy with this, I can then go back in and pay the rest of it off for the table that was there. So it's all split down for you. As we then continue with the actual order that we're going to do, so we could then come to the actual table plan side of it, open up a new table, pay this off by cash, and that will then close off, and you'll see that these tables now become free and available to use for the next people. We also have table reservations on here, so we can also run any kind of reservations that you may take on the same day or for future dates. So what you'll see down the left hand side, it corresponds to all the table numbers that you have. So I could easily highlight a table which will put a red line. I can do a new reservation for this evening for 4 people, in the name of Smith. That then goes into there. I could also take a deposit, if need be, of £50, okay, by cash, and that is now taken. Once the person arrives for the table, we can then open the table, and it's already put the £50 on there, so any orders or any items that they put on will then start to deplete, so you'll see that they have got the actual minus until they actually get to a positive figure, in which case it will start to add up the items that that they're then having, which they'll then be needed to pay for at the end. Again, it's the same thing, so when you add to check the table, prompts for the number of covers, and we can then put it through, and it's then added to the relevant table that we'd opened. Okay, these that are still flashing, if we then open one, and then we was then maybe put through some more items and then add to check table, you'll see that it will stop flashing within here. So obviously the time period is set to a point where it will only flash when the table hasn't been accessed or serviced for a certain amount of time. In terms of making changes to the actual system or prices and that kind of thing, really, everything can be managed from the actual front end. So there's no need to go into a back office, or no need to go into different screens. If we wish to just maybe change the price of something, so currently if we sell this item at £3.20 and we just cancel that, I can easily hit Program PLU, go to my prices, find the product, and then it will display on the screen. We can just make it £3.30, straight to Program PLU, and press there, and then now when we sell it, it's £3.30. It's very, very simple and straightforward as a level of functionality. That again also can be set up so that only certain members of staff, i.e. managers or supervisors, can actually use the system. So if I sign in as number 3, which is Diana, and I go to there, it will say mode operation inhibited, so it will not allow her to go into the actual system. The same with things like the back office. She can only go in and do the X mode reports, whereas if I sign off and sign on as Bryn and go back to there, I've then got a choice of the X and the Z mode reports, which will allow me to obviously reset the system down and finalise everything for the end of the night. There's obviously other levels of functionality that we can go into, and we will cover those in a different period, but this is just an overview of how the system can work, what it can offer, and how it works for any operator, as I mentioned, within the restaurant, bar, or hospitality sector, which will then also link to a back office which can be cloud based and give you more details and more information. But thank you very much for your time, and I hope you've enjoyed watching.